Hello everyone and welcome to my Soap Twist 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Bill Spencer sat against the mahogany bar, his posture deceptively casual, yet his black eyes contained a reserved intensity. Lee Finnegan, the ever-composed doctor, stood beside the fireplace, arms crossed, her face a mask of silent misery. And then there was Luna, her petite form quivering in the corner, her eyes wide with terror and desperation, clutching a crumpled piece of paper with the truth that none of them could avoid. The DNA test result had arrived that morning, packaged in a sterile envelope that felt heavier than it should have. The words printed on the sheet were clinical and final. Luna was pregnant, and Bill was the father. The revelation had ripped apart the frail links that bound these four lives together, leaving jagged wounds in their wake. Ridge's voice, which was normally steady and commanding, cracked when he read the findings aloud, and his hands shook as he held the paper. Hours later, the room was a battlefield, and the words he'd shouted earlier resonated in the air. "I don't care about her pregnancy." Luna's breath caught as she pushed herself farther into the corner, her fingers tightening on the test results. She hadn't spoken since Ridge's outburst. She hadn't dared to. The weight of his words suffocated her, like if her mere presence was an offense. She was only 22 years old, a girl who had strayed into this world of riches and power without expecting to find herself in its crosshairs. She had loved Bill, or thought she did, on those stolen nights when he murmured promises of a future she'd never dared to imagine. But now, standing here, she felt like nothing more than a pawn in a game she couldn't comprehend. "Ridge, you need to calm down," Lee remarked quietly but firmly, breaking the charged silence. Her gaze flickered to Luna, a flash of maternal concern breaking through her austere veneer. Lee had always served as an anchor in times of upheaval, her medical skills providing the clarity that others relied on. But tonight, even she was unraveling, her poise breaking at the edges. She had known Luna since she was a youngster and had seen her grow up on the outskirts of this glittering, merciless world. Lee felt a tremendous sense of sympathy and shame at seeing her now, pregnant and afraid, as if she could have avoided this. "Calm down," Ridge snapped, turning against her. His voice was like a blade, piercing and uncompromising. "You're telling me to calm down when she—" He stabbed a finger at Luna, who trembled as if struck. "Has been lying to us all? Manipulating us? And now this?" He made a vague gesture toward the crumpled paper in Luna's palm, as if the pregnancy itself were an accusation. Bill straightened, his easy demeanor faltering as he moved forward. "Watch how you talk about her, Ridge," he warned, his voice low and menacing. Luna did not do this alone. Ridge's eyes narrowed, and his rage shifted to Bill. "Oh, I'm pointing them at you, Spencer. You think you can just walk in here, ruin people's lives, and leave unscathed? You are the one that took advantage of her." "Enough!" Lee's voice ripped through the room like a whip, jolting everyone to quiet. Her hands were clenched at her sides, and her normally steady fingers trembled. "This is not benefiting anyone. Yelling and accusing will not change what has happened. Luna is pregnant. That is the fact. And we need to figure out what happens next without tearing each other apart." Luna's eyes welled up with tears, but she did not say anything. She could not. The weight of their words, their fury, and their disappointment were all too much. She'd always been the quiet one, the dreamer who drew drawings in the margins of her notebooks, hoping to one day make an impression at Forrester Creations. She had never intended to wind up here, embroiled in a controversy that threatened to destroy everything. She looked to Bill, hoping to find the guy who had previously looked at her as if she were the center of his universe, but his expression was unreadable now, a tempest of conflicting emotions. Bill ran his fingers through his hair and exhaled deeply. "Lee's right," he muttered, but the admission appeared to hurt him. "This is not about blaming. It's about what we do now." He looked at Luna, his face softening for the first time that night. "Luna, I will not abandon you. Whatever you need, I'm here." Ridge laughed bitterly, the sound harsh and empty. "That's quite generous of you. Do you think throwing money at it will solve the problem? She's carrying your child, Bill, and you're standing there like it's just another business transaction. Stop it. Luna's voice rang across the room, little but powerful, surprising even herself. All eyes were on her, and she felt their gazes like a tangible force. Her hands were shaking, but she took a step forward, clutching the DNA findings to her chest like a shield. Please stop. All of you. You're talking about me like I'm not even here, like I'm just a problem to be solved. Her voice trembled, and tears welled up. I did not plan this. I did not want this. I thought. She paused, her gaze falling to the floor. I believed Bill loved me. I believed I could trust him. And now. She pointed helplessly at the mayhem around her. Now I'm alone, and you're all fighting over me like I'm some kind of prize or punishment. Bill's face softened further, a glimmer of guilt crossing his features. He approached her, but she stopped him with a hand. Don't, she whispered. Just don't. Lee crossed the room to stand alongside Luna. She rested a soft hand on the girl's shoulder, her touch firm despite the conflict in her eyes. You're not alone, Luna, she whispered quietly. You got me. Ridge's face faltered, the fury in his eyes dimming as he watched Lee soothe Luna. He had always taken pride in being the patriarch, the one who held the family together, but today he felt as if he had failed. He was angry not only at Luna or Bill, but also at himself and the universe for allowing this to happen. He had called the cops earlier in a fit of wrath, believing that Luna had twisted her way into Bill's life and into his family. But now, seeing her like this, small, afraid, and so young, he was unsure. I'm sorry, Ridge murmured, barely above a whisper. The words seemed strange in his mouth, weighted with regret. I should not have said what I did. He trailed off, rubbing his face. This family has gone through a lot. I thought I was protecting it. Luna glanced at him, her gaze searching for sincerity. She wanted to believe him, to believe that there was still a place for her in the world she had worked so hard to enter. But the ache from his previous remarks lingered, like a wound that would take time to heal. Bill, for his part, remained silent with his attention fixated on Luna. He had always been a man of action, making clear decisions and taking measured risks, but this was unexplored terrain. Fatherhood was not something he had prepared on, either with Luna or now. And yet, when he looked at her, he felt a pull he couldn't resist, a want to protect her, to make things right, even if he didn't know how. The rain continued to fall outside in a steady rhythm, emphasizing the gravity of the situation. Lee squeezed Luna's shoulder and gave her a modest, comforting smile. We'll figure this out, she replied. Together. But Luna wasn't so sure. She felt the weight of the future crushing down on her, the kid developing inside her, the decisions she'd have to make, and the life she'd have to construct from the wreckage of today. She glanced at Bill, Ridge, and Lee, and saw the broken parts of a family that might never be complete again. As the night progressed, the room became quieter, and the storm outside subsided into a soft drizzle. But the storm within each of them persisted, a whirlwind of shame, remorse, and whispered hopes. Luna sneaked out of the room, clutching the DNA results in her palm, and stepped into the rain. The cold water soaked through her garments, but she didn't mind. She felt capable of breathing for the first time that night. She walked away from the mansion, from the shouting and accusations, toward an unknown future. Behind her, the lights of the Forrester estate shone like a beacon, reminding her of the life she had once imagined. But that fantasy had vanished, replaced by something new, scary, and uniquely hers. And as she vanished into the night, the rain washed away her tears. Luna made a secret promise to her unborn child. I'll be sufficient for you, even if I am not enough for them. Bill Spencer had strolled in at the worst possible time, his typical confidence shining through every movement. He had that smile, that aura of command that made Ridge's anger boil. Don't look at me like that, Forrester, Bill had said, leaning against a marble table as if he owned the room. If anyone should be upset here, it's me. Luna has been through enough. Do you think yelling solves anything? Do you believe dragging her name through the mud makes you righteous? Ridge's response had been as keen as a knife. You don't get to discuss righteousness, Bill. You've spent your life destroying families and manipulating others for your own ego. Don't stand here claiming to be her defender. Luna attempted to interfere, her face pallid and tears welling in her eyes. Stop it, please. This is not helping. None of this. But Ridge's rage was uncontrollable. He was not only angry, he felt betrayed. I don't care about her pregnancy, he'd said, his voice ringing throughout the house, shocking everyone to quiet. What I care about is the truth. And someone here's been lying. Hours later, that moment replayed in his thoughts, fueling the fire inside him. He didn't care about excuses. He needed answers. Lee stood near the window, her expression opaque, a faint reflection of dawn light glinting in her eyes. You went too far, she remarked gently, her tone firm but tinged with disappointment. She is afraid, Ridge. Whatever she's done, screaming at her won't make things right. Ridge turned to face her, pacing across the room. Scared? Lee, she has been playing us all. She comes in here, wailing about not knowing who the father is and behaving as if she's the victim. But you're also hiding something. I see it. Lee did not flinch. Her hands were folded in front of her, and she maintained her composure deliberately. I am not hiding anything. But you're only listening to your fury. You've made up your mind before even seeing the proof. What evidence? Ridge gave a quick, bitter laugh. Do you mean the DNA test? Do you believe that will fix everything? Do you think a piece of paper will erase what she has done? The door behind him opened, and Bill strolled in again, uninvited. The air seemed to freeze as Ridge turned sharply, his eyes flaming with contempt. What are you doing here? Ridge requested. Bill shrugged. I'm making sure no one does anything stupid. For example, calling the police on a pregnant lady. Don't you dare lecture me, Spencer. Ridge approached, his voice low and deadly. You have been covering for her. Do you think I don't know that? Do you think I don't understand how you're twisting things to make yourself the hero? Bill's eyes hardened. If being a hero means stopping you from ruining an innocent girl's life, then yeah, I'll take the title. Luna emerged at the top of the staircase, her face pale and her hands trembling as she grasped the rail. Please, she asked gently, her voice breaking. Quit fighting. Ridge, I did not lie. I was perplexed. I didn't know how to tell you the truth without losing everything. Ridge stared up at her, his rage conflicting with something more fragile, disappointment, loss, perhaps even pity. But it did not last. You've already lost everything, Luna. You lied right in my face. You lied to everybody. Do you want me to show compassion now? She muttered. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. Bill turned to her, his tone softening. You don't need to say anything else. Let me handle it. Ridge snapped. Can you handle this? How have you handled your previous blunders, Bill? How did you treat Katie, Brooke, or anyone else that was trapped in your orbit? You wrecked people, and now you're destroying her. Bill's patience ran out. He moved closer, nose to nose with Ridge. Do you think you're any better? You've spent your life condemning others, behaving as if you're the world's moral compass, but all you do is lash out when things go out of your hands. Luna's terrified because of people like you. The fight erupted, with words overlapping and emotions running high. Lee eventually raised her voice, sharp enough to break through the cacophony. Enough. Both of you. They froze, astounded by her tone. Lee rarely yelled, but her control had slipped, and her displeasure was clear. You are both too blinded by pride to see what is directly in front of you. This is not about egos or grudges. It's about a child, an unborn child, and a truth that none of you are prepared to confront. Her words echoed throughout the room. Luna wiped her tears and whispered, The DNA results are here. Silence fell. Ridge's heart pounded in his chest as Lee walked closer, clutching the package she'd obtained from the hospital that morning. Her hands did not shake, but her breathing deepened, indicating that she was not as calm as she appeared. Bill approached Luna and placed a steadying hand on her shoulder. Ridge looked at the gesture with contempt. Go on, Ridge said. Let's hear it. Let's finally find out who's been lying. Lee paused for a bit before tearing the envelope open. The sound of paper being sliced resonated through the silence. Her eyes perused the document, and her breath caught, a flicker of disbelief crossing her face. What does it say? Ridge pushed. Lee, what does it say? She looked up, her resolve wavering for the first time. The test confirms that the father of Luna's baby is Bill Spencer. The words struck like a thunderclap. Ridge froze, staring at her as if she had spoken a different language. Bill blinked, taken aback. Even he seemed silent for a while. Luna sobbed quietly, covering her face with quivering hands. Ridge felt the earth tilt. You've got to be kidding me, he said, raking his hand through his hair. After everything? After all your sanctimonious statements? Is it you? He pointed toward Bill, his voice quivering with wrath. Are you the father? Bill did not deny it. His quiet said more than words could. Ridge moved away, pacing, his wrath no longer acute, but wounded and incredulous. You two lied. You allowed me to protect you, Luna, and stand up for you? And you were hiding this all along? I didn't know, Luna admitted, her voice shaking. I swear I didn't know till the test. Bill didn't even. Ridge didn't want to hear that. Save it. I'm done listening to falsehoods. You both deserve each other. Lee took a step closer, her voice calm but laden with resignation. Ridge, you need to stop before this gets worse. Ridge gave a sour laugh. How could things go worse, Lee? The man who has been my rival for decades has just impregnated a lady I trust, and now you want me to calm down? Bill finally spoke, his tone softer than usual. Ridge, I did not plan this. You can believe whatever you want, but I care about her. I'm concerned about the baby. That's rich, Ridge remarked. You care about no one but yourself. Luna was sobbing, unable to bear the weight of the charges. Please, she pleaded through sobs. Quit fighting. I did not ask for this. I didn't want anything to happen like this, but Ridge was no longer listening. He took up the phone, his jaw stiffening. Do you know what? Let's let the law handle it. Bill moved up immediately. What the hell are you doing? Call the cops, Ridge stated coldly. She has been hiding evidence, lying about her identity, and manipulating people. Do you believe that will just go away? No. She will face the consequences. Don't you dare, Ridge, Bill hissed. Lee stood between them again, her voice firm. Ridge, think. You're behaving out of rage. This is not justice. It is vengeance. But Ridge was beyond reason. Revenge? Maybe. But someone needs to pay for all of the devastation she created. He looked away, his voice loud. I'm not concerned about her pregnancy. Bill's patience snapped. He grabbed Ridge's wrist and stopped him mid-dial. You, not doing this. Not today. Let go of me. No, Bill replied, his tone menacing. If you call the cops on her, you'll have to go through me. The tension between them was electric, like a silent rage that may explode at any moment. Luna cried louder, scarcely audible. Please stop. Lee interrupted, standing between the two men. That is enough. All of you. Her tone was full of power. None of you are thinking clearly. If the police get involved, this will destroy all of you, not just Luna. Ridge halted, holding the phone in his fingers. The battle slowly faded from him, leaving him exhausted. He glanced at the ground, his voice scarcely audible. She lied to you, Lee. Lee sighed quietly. She made a fool of us all. She made an error, Ridge. But so have you many times. You don't get rid of suffering by spreading it about. Bill helped Luna settle on the couch, her face pallid and drained. He moved a strand of hair away from her face, his gaze uncommonly soft. You're going to be okay, he said quietly. I won't let anyone hurt you. Ridge turned away, unwilling to watch. The sight of Bill soothing her caused something inside him to twist horribly. He wanted to despise her, but a part of him could not. He wanted to strike Bill, but it wouldn't relieve the hollow aching that had fallen into his chest. Lee folded the test results and placed them on the table, her expression serious. The truth is out now. What you all do with it is up to you. The room was silent save for Luna's soft cries and the faint ticking of the clock. Ridge peered into the fire, his reflection flickering in the flames. A man devoured by treachery, late-in-life decisions, and words that could never be undone. Bill caught his gaze across the room. Neither man spoke, but everything that needed to be said was already there. Rage, remorse, and a silent acceptance that nothing between them would ever be the same again. Outside, the morning sun rose higher, creating long shadows through the mansion's windows and reaching across the floor like the fissures that now separate their lives. And somewhere in the silent aftermath, Lee stood observing them all, aware that the truth, no matter how painful, was only the beginning.